Hi, this is Rachel New, dating and relationships coach. And today I'd like to talk to you about why you're getting friend-zoned. So are you finding that you're going on dates and getting that message afterwards saying, oh, I had a great time, but I don't think there's any spark, but I'd love to be friends? If so, then here are 3 tips to help you to stop getting friend-zoned. So my first tip is, are you actually getting friend-zoned all the time, or are you engaging in all or nothing thinking where you have a few bad experiences and then generalize and say, oh, I'm always getting friend-zoned? It would be a good idea to keep a record of your dates and exactly what happens after each. So maybe you're only getting friend-zoned 3 in 10 times, for example, but you're remembering it as all the time. My second tip is thinking about the vibe that you're creating on a date. Are you creating that energy, that sense of celebrating being alive and what a great life you have and all the things that you're interested in and passionate about and curious about, and inviting the other person to share your life with you or to find out what it's like to be part of your life? If you haven't got that vibe where you're feeling really good about yourself and celebrating your life, you've got lots of things to talk about and you've got loads of interests and hobbies and activities going on, then maybe you're not creating that energy that's needed for chemistry on a date. So I would say try and make sure you've got plenty of hobbies and regular activities going on in your life, that you're reading books or watching films or having interesting discussions, so that you've got lots to talk about on the date. You need to be having a rich, varied life with plenty of socializing and thinking and things that are driving you and that you're interested in if you're going to attract somebody else. So think about what the other person might be looking for, what kind of person you're looking for and what they might be looking for, what kind of person would attract them, and how can you show that you have those attractive qualities. So, for example, you might say, well, I read this article last week in the newspaper, or I watched this program last week and it got me thinking about this particular topic or this debate or this issue. What do you think about it? So, for example, when I'm making this video, the thing that everyone seems to be talking about at the moment is artificial intelligence and what's going to happen. Is it going to take over the world? What are the ethics around it? What are the consequences of it? And that could lead to all sorts of interesting conversations that you could find out more about the other person's values. You can show your thinking skills, you can show what your values are and how you would discuss those kind of issues, and it can show whether you're good at listening to the other person and exchanging views without trying to convert the other person to your point of view and that kind of thing. So topics that are slightly controversial could be interesting, even silly ones like, should you date your sibling's ex, for example, is something I recently contributed to an article about. So I'm sure you can think of plenty of ethical issues around dating and relationships that you could discuss on the date. So that's my second tip: create a good vibe with lots of energy and showing that you feel good about yourself. And my third tip is about the language that you use to frame it as a date and not just, here's a new friend. So you need to talk about things to do with love and attraction and relationships and dating on your first date. Don't think that the first date is about just light-hearted conversation, entertaining each other with little stories or making each other laugh and just asking the same old questions like, what do you do and where do you live? Do you see much of your family? That kind of thing. Those questions have been asked a million times before, and it's good to try and do something a little bit different, a bit more distinctive, and that's a bit more intentional around the topics of dating, relationships and love. So if you're, for example, looking for a long-term relationship, then you might want to ask questions like, do you believe in love at first sight? Or how many times have you been in love? Or what are you looking for in a relationship? Or what kind of person are you attracted to? So then you're asking a question, but you're also framing it as, this is a date and this is the kind of thing that we talk about on a date. You're showing that you're purposeful and intentional, that you know what you want, and you're not afraid to talk about those deeper issues to do with relationships. People love to talk about dating and relationships, so just get the right questions to open them up, and that will lead to a much more satisfying date where they will be associating you with those experiences of love and attraction. So, just to recap, my top 3 tips. First of all, don't engage in all or nothing thinking. It's not always 100% that you're getting friend-zoned. I'm sure there must be times when you didn't get friend-zoned, so try to remember the positive experiences. Second tip, create that right vibe where you're feeling good about yourself and creating energy and passion. And thirdly, think about the language that you're using to frame it as a date. So good luck with your dating, and let me know how you get on in the comments.